I'm here at the Ontario Regiment RCAC Museum in Oshawa to explore one of the most widely used tanks during the Second World War. So let's discuss what makes the M4 Sherman a history hero. America entered the war late and had a bit of catching up to do. In true American fashion, they wanted to create a tank that was fast, reliable, could shoot 360 degrees, and had a big gun. They got part of the way with the M3, but it was unreliable, and finally got what they wanted with the M4 Sherman. They began mass producing it immediately and exporting it to the Soviet Union and England.
The M4 Sherman is probably one of the most iconic tanks. Such a long life of service, not just from 1941, but up to the 1980s.
Over the course of the Second World War, many variations to the M4s were made, including ones with bulldozers, rockets, and yes, even flamethrowers.
As the conflict went on, it was a chassis that allowed new technology, new ideas to be integrated into the vehicle.
The ones here at the museum are called M4A2E8s, or more commonly known as EZ8s. One thing that sets the EZ8s apart from the other M4 variants is its gun. Other M4s have 75mm barrels, whereas the EZ8s have 76mm barrels.
So if you look at some of the early versions in 41, 42, you see there's cast hulls.
What's apparent only on the EZ8s is that the main armor is in fact welded instead of cast, and the new horizontal suspension system as opposed to the older vertical ones. This allows for them to put two wheels, allowing the tanks to be heavier and traverse muddier, softer ground. This is where the 5 crew members worked and operated the machine. As you can see, it's a pretty cramped space. I'm 6'2" for reference.
When you have the opportunity to be inside, it gives a little bit of insight into how difficult it was to operate these vehicles, especially when someone's firing at you.
To make sure I was paying attention, John Grande's gonna ask me some questions.
What's the caliber of the gun?
76mm.
Is it cast or welded?
Weld.
What is the tank's top speed?
They weren't the biggest, nor did they pack the hardest punch, but the M4 Shermans were definitely reliable. You can visit this tank for yourself at the Ontario Regiment RCAC Museum here in Oshawa. My name is Sam, and if you learned something new today, my job here is done.